My name is Eric Hackley. I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and we've been working on this genealogy thing for quite a while here, a few years, aggressively, and it goes kind of slow at times, and all of a sudden we hit somebody and we get great news. So I had a chance to find out about Leroy Hackley. I kept saying, who is this guy? He's from Culpeper, Virginia, where all the Hackleys came from. And we've been working pretty hard to find the connection. We don't know the exact connection yet, but this guy has been a Hackley as long as anyone else here has been in the Hackley family. Leroy, please come up here for a moment here, because he has on his Culpeper shirt, and I just want to make sure that the people here have a chance to see Leroy, and Leroy say a few words, and what does it mean to at least, we don't know how we're connected. We know that we are connected, but the significance of this coming together, you know that it's about 180 years since our factions have been separated, because we left there roughly 1837 or so, because Calvin Hackley was born 1836, and the next one was born like 1839 or so, so they had babies frequently. But anyway, here, please.
And I actually have an Uncle Calvin somewhere back there. Yeah, thanks for letting me crash your party here, but when you're in Virginia and you talk to a Hackley, everybody knows that if there's a party, there's going to be a Hackley somewhere around. So when I heard about this one, I thought, I only live in Grand Rapids, only about a half hour away, 40 minutes away, so I asked if I could come down and meet some of you guys. And as luck would have it, years ago, probably when I first moved to Grand Rapids, back in the mid-'80s, I had met Edgar Hackley and did not realize that it was the same family. He called me up and said, he was looking in the phone book. He said whenever he gets into different towns, he looks in the phone books to see if there's any Hackleys there.
You were lucky. You met a gangster. You met a real gangster.
I found that out.
You saw his face to face.
Yeah, so he called me up and he said, hey, with that name, he goes, I'm betting that you might be an African American. I said, yeah, so we got together a couple times at the VFW up in Grand Rapids. He always took me up there to hang out with his boys. So I didn't find that out until last night when I was here, that Edgar was part of this family. So, and I was sorry to hear that he had passed away, but yeah, he had called me a couple of times. So he reached out to me, and that's what got me thinking, because I didn't know there was a lot of Hackleys in Michigan at that time. Eric said, my family grew up. All my family is still in Virginia, in Culpeper, where we grew up. And if you do a lot of historical background on the Hackleys, most of the African American Hackleys started in Culpeper. And you got the northern part of the county. What happened was there was a dad who had 3 sons, and when the dad passed in his will, he gave each son land, and he also gave them slaves. And then each one of them kind of broke off into different factors, and that's how we got some coming to Ohio and then to Michigan. And so I'm thinking somewhere along the line, like Eric said, we may not be, I'm thinking somewhere along the line there's probably some blood connection, because I look at family names and I see a lot of them. My great-grandfather came from a family of 16. And we only know him, so we have no idea what his brothers and sisters' names are. And it would be my bet that somehow that whole connection is there. So, so for me to come here to Michigan and see so many Hackleys, and thank you. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to coming back to many more. Thanks.
And I want to mention that was an interesting comment that he made, because when he said that Edgar did that, when I went to Bill Clinton's second inauguration, I drove to Culpeper and did the exact same thing. I went to the phone book and saw all these Hackleys. So the person I called were white, and they said, "Oh, you must want the African American Hackleys." I said, "Well, okay," and I went to see them, and but also through Facebook, we made some great connections, and the other significant connection that we were able to make was with Paulo. Please. Because now Paulo, just as most of you here are descendants of Calvin Hackley in that lineage, and I'm from Calvin's, one of his younger brothers, Jerome Hackley. No, me. And you are from Marcellus Hackley, another one of the brothers. So we're all connected through our great-great-grandfathers. And Paulo, please come up here, because what she has done is she's tracked a whole lot of the women, because whereas I've been tracking the Hackley men's names and about what they've been doing, she's been getting into the women. And here you go.
Hi everybody, nice to meet all you Hackley descendants. Yes, I started doing ancestry probably 5 years ago, but it was always in my mind before that. My great-grandmother is Orabelle Hackley. Her father is Marcellus Hackley, and they all are from Michigan. Now, when I start doing ancestry on Ancestry.com, it just opened up a whole new window, and all these Hackleys and their descendants. There's so many people to do research on, but I found so many great things about the Hackleys. I haven't found pictures of Marcellus yet, and I'm trying to do that now, but I do know that he and two of his brothers were in the Civil War. And I do know that. And I'm just on Ancestry almost every day, still searching, trying to find more information about our ancestors, and I'm loving every bit of it. So I'm digging deep in those Hackley roots.
All right.
And there's one last somewhat significant point that we want to mention. The Hackley name, of course, came from England. And the most prominent Hackley that I was able to find, again, his name was Richard Hakluyt, H-A-K-L-U-Y-T. Now, anytime you research the Hackley name to see where it came from, the spelling or what have you, that's one of the alternative spellings, was H-A-K-L-U-Y-T. What is significant about this guy is this year here, 2016, is the 400th anniversary of his death. He was prominent during the time when colonization first started taking place here in America. He's the one, he had numerous conversations with Queen Elizabeth, and he's the one who persuaded her. He asked her, he said to her, why was England content to remain a passive spectator while Spain and France were creating colonies in the New World? So, if any of you have heard of the lost colony of Roanoke, 1585, his name is all over it, because that's when that was England's first attempt to colonize in the Americas. And what happened was, when they got to Roanoke, they were happy to be in North America, and as they were unloading the ships, they said, okay, who bought the food? They didn't have any food. They had plenty of lumber, but they had no food. So long story short, they wound up freezing to death and starving to death. And when the ship returned from England, supposedly with supplies, they couldn't find anybody there. They don't know what happened to them. So anytime you Google the lost colony of Roanoke, just know that we had something to do with that. And so that's part of the history that I'm trying to put together in a book to show what happened back then, how it connects to today. I won't go into it right now, but that's all I got to say about that. So thank you for listening.